Beautiful.
Hare Krishna, Danvat Pranam. I need to get something from the room. Please give me a minute. I'll be back. Om Agyantimirandasya Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuthapadakambalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langaite Girim Yat Kripatam Maham Bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwar
माझा वाढत नाही.
Okay, we will finish this chapter today. Today's chapter not very philosophical. Today's discussion. So we ended with Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, where we discuss in three ways. One is relationship, our relationship with Krishna. Krishna says, I am the source of everything. Am sarvasya prabhu matta sarvam pravartate. From me comes um, um, everything spiritual material comes from me. So we saw that relationship, that we also belong to Krishna. A relationship is established. Um, Krishna says, Am bija pradapita. So we emanated from him. So there is an eternal relationship with Krishna that we have. So that was one aspect. And then what's the goal? The goal is bhava samanvita, tushyanti cha ramanti cha, is fully absorbed in love, with bhav, with feelings, and that's what gives the deepest satisfaction to the soul. It is actually that deep satisfaction that we are searching in this material world, but it exists only at the lotus feet of the Lord. Nowhere else can it be found. But the hankering is for the same experience, and the hankering manifests in the form of many material desires. But ultimately, that's what we are looking for, is bhava samanvita, the feeling of complete absorption out of love in the Lord. So that's the goal. And then the abhidya, or the process, or how to go from from theoretical understanding to the goal of tushyanti, ramanti, satisfaction, bliss, and bhava samanvita, and fully absorb. How to attain that goal? So the process, and the process is twofold process. One is tesham satata yuktanam. Krishna says, what is the process is tesham satata yuktanam. You engage in my service, bhajatam priti purvakam, and you do it with love. You serve me, and you serve out of love. Render devotional service with love. Bhajatam, bhaja means devotional service. That is the process, devotional service. Priti purvakam, not out of any other feeling but with love. um, Dadami buddhi yogam tam. I will give you the intelligence. Ye na mam upayanti te, by which you can come to me. So we know the goal, bhava samanvita, bliss, satisfaction. We know that's what we are meant for. We understand our true relationship is we are eternally connected to the Lord as his part and parcel. And the goal is Krishna guides us. Krishna guides us to attain that stage of Tushyanti, Ramanti, and Bhava Samandita. But he does not guide everybody. He guides those who engage in the devotional service. So there is Sambandha, relationship, there is Prayojana, goal, and there is Abhidya, the process. And the process is Bhaja, Bhajata, devotional service, Priti Purvakam, with love. Now, in order to make the process sweet, along with devotional service you render, in order to make the process sweet, Krishna says, um, um, Bodhayantas parasparam kathayantas cha mam nityam. You perform katha, you hear about me. Krishna katha, you discuss about me. So when we discuss about Krishna, our heart becomes filled with satisfaction and divinity. When we discuss about, just by discussing about Krishna, because Krishna is transcendental. When we hear about Krishna, there is a different rasa when we hear about Krishna. It's too sweet. So that is a process Krishna mentions here in Bhagavad Gita. Kathayantas cha mam nityam. Always discuss about me. Always. Bodhayantas parasparam. You come together and you discuss about me. And then you derive great satisfaction. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. And one more thing Krishna says, Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita. He says, um, uh, What is the first line of 11th verse? English. I will share the English. Um, Engage your mind and your life in serving me. You make me the goal of your life. Um, Whatever you do it. Your goal should be clear. You may be working, taking care of family. You may have many professional duties. Whatever it is, you go through your normal course of activities. You make me the goal of your life to attain me. You render devotional service on daily basis, and you come together and discuss about me. And if you keep doing these things and then you serve me, tesham satata yuktanam, always, you always serve me in different ways possible. Look for my service, serve me, hear about me in association of devotees, make me the goal of your life. And if you do these things, then dadami buddhi yogam tam, I will give you the intelligence, I will help you. Anywhere you will go wrong, I will help you to rectify. I will encourage you in a right direction, and eventually I assure you, yena mam upayantiti, that you will come to me. And the goal is to go to Krishna. That's why actually entire essence of Gita, the entire process of Krishna consciousness that Srila Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercifully gave us is concised in these four verses of Gita. If you understand these four verses, you get the essence. The goal is Krishna, the process is devotional service. You come together, you render service to Him, you come together and discuss about Him, and Krishna will keep giving you intelligence moment after moment. Krishna acts internally as Paramatma, externally as Guru, and through books, externally through books. Uh, Krishna will give you intelligence by which you can come to me. So there was, Arjuna was amazed when he saw in just four verses the entire, and when he heard Krishna, everything material, spiritual actually emanates from Krishna, and he is the source of everything, and the goal is to attain him. And he himself said that I am the source of everything. The acronym for this chapter is CSEE. S stands for source of everything. Krishna says, I am the source of all the Kumaras, Manus, demigods, all the qualities, everything emanates from me. And then he says, the goal is me. And then he describes how to come to me. And then he says, actually, I bring to you to me. You cannot come to me by yourself. I bring you to me. I give you the intelligence by which only you can come to me, not by your own effort. But you have to render devotional service, then I will show you that mercy. And what is that mercy? Krishna says, Aham agyana tam jam tamaha. Um, Jnana deepena bhashvata. I will with the torchlight of with the lamp of torchlight, with a deep, but not a regular deep, a jnana deepena, with the deep of knowledge. I will jam tamaha. I will remove all the ignorance in your heart. The ignorance, what is the ignorance in our heart? We have so many desires and attachments and attractions and so many things we want to do, and we have so many doubts. So these are all ignorance in our heart. Krishna says, Aham agyana jam tamaha. All the ignorance born, all the darkness born out of ignorance. I will, with a jnana deepena bhashvata, I will illuminate your heart with the lamplight of knowledge, and I will remove all your ignorance. And that is what Krishna means when he says, I will give you the intelligence. Because unless it really resonates in our heart, unless all our doubts are removed, we cannot make progress. These doubts act as stumbling blocks for us to make progress in the path of devotion. And Krishna removes those doubts. Now, some of you may ask some question and I may give an answer, but it's not me who will satisfy you. Even if the answer is correct and if the answer is according to scriptures, you yourself need the mercy of Krishna to understand it. I can say something, Bhagavad Gita can say something, but the feeling within your heart that makes sense. I accept. Now no more doubt remains. That feeling of removal of ignorance that was there before, that illumination Krishna has to give. And Krishna himself says, I will do it for you. I will do it. When a living entity comes to this material world, he develops so many conceptions of life, so many paths of spirituality itself, and so many other desires. So Krishna has to give that Vyasayatmika buddhi, that uh, goal is me, that that conviction, and removing all other doubts, that Krishna has to do that, and that is his special mercy. Krishna says, to show them special mercy, I do this. I do this. So this is a special mercy. We discuss about different people have different conception of mercy, but the real mercy of Krishna is when Krishna illuminates our heart, remove all our doubts. Because when that is there, then what happens? Then bhajante mam dridam vrata. Then we worship Krishna with determination. So, if somebody understand these four verses of Bhagavad Gita, he has understood everything possible, starting from beginning to end. All the Vedic scriptures are present in these four verses. One who can understand this, all his ignorance will be removed. But Krishna has to give that intelligence from within to be able to understand these four verses and everything we discuss. That's why everything will start rolling, everything will start sorting out, everything will start making sense if you serve Krishna and perform devotional service. Prabhupada says Krishna consciousness begins by chanting Hare Krishna. That is the highest form of devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the inaugurator of his Krishna himself. I really want to discuss about Lord Chaitanya sometime in future. Um, he's the inaugurator. He um, I lost the thread that I was thinking. Anyways, that this also Krishna does. Krishna says, from me comes forgetfulness, remembrance, and knowledge. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha. So when we are speaking something, we forget that also Krishna gives. And when we plan to say something and we end up in saying something else, that is also Krishna. Everything is under the control of Krishna, and we just take everything as Krishna's will, move forward. So this is Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, the most glorious four verses of Bhagavad Gita. After saying this, Arjuna had a overwhelming reflection and effect in his heart. And how Arjuna reflected. So this section, first Arjuna accepts Krishna as the Supreme Lord. So three verses on that, and then Arjuna request Krishna something. Three verses on request by Arjuna for Krishna, and then Krishna answers his request, and that are the remaining verses. And this section is what calls this chapter. The name of the chapter is Opulence of the Supreme. In Sanskrit, it is called Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti means opulence because Krishna speaks about his opulence. And in the next chapter, Arjuna asks, I accept all the opulence that you have described to me, but for a common man, can you show you how you are the source of all this opulence? And to show, to justify his opulences upon the request of Arjuna for a common man, Krishna shows his universal form, and that is the 11th chapter, where he shows all that he speaks in this chapter. So that is the connection between these two chapters. Okay, let's begin. Um, Arjuna accepts Lord Krishna as supreme. Arjuna Uvacha, परम ब्रह्म परम धाम पवित्रम परमं भवान पुरुषम शाश्वतम दिव्यम adi devam ajam vibhum. So this is what Arjuna speaks, and he says, Param Brahma, you are the supreme personality of Godhead. If you remember, um, 8th chapter, um, what is what is Brahman? Arjuna asks, and Krishna says, the eternal living entities are Brahman, who are spiritual by nature. They are Brahman. And here, Krishna is referred to as Parabrahman, Parabrahman, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Param Brahma, uh, Param Dhama. He is the ultimate abode. The goal, the goal is Him. So He is the ultimate abode, the ultimate shelter, the ultimate resort, the ultimate goal. Pavitra, He is the purest. Paramam Bhava, the absolute truth. Purusham Shashvatam, Shashvat means eternal. We saw material word Dukalyam Ashashvatam. Ashashvat means temporary. He is Purusham Shashvatam. His personality is eternal. His personality does not take birth or die. His personality is eternal. Divyam, he is transcendental. Adi Devam, Adi means original person. He does not have a source. Ajam, he is unborn. And Vibhum, he is the greatest. So this is basically, if you are very impressed by somebody, then you say, you are great, I have not met a person like you. So in that way, Arjuna is basically glorifying. This is Arjuna's reaction out of love, from the Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita that he heard from Krishna. Arjuna said, so these are so many adjectives he used because he wanted to glorify Krishna, but there is no words that glorify Krishna. So he's trying every possible word. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate abode, the purest, the absolute truth, eternal, transcendental, original, unborn, greatest. What else can I say? What can I say? So that's the mood Arjuna is exhibiting in order to glorify Krishna. Um, um, Ahustvam Rishaya Sarve Devarshi Naradastatha Ashito Devalo Vyasa Swayam Chaiva Bravisi Me Ahustvam Rishaye Sarve, all the great sages. And after glorifying Krishna, because somebody may say, Arjuna said Krishna is the supreme God, the greatest, the unborn, transcendental, supreme personality of Godhead, the original person, nobody is before him. Arjuna says that. But why should I accept? Somebody may think like that. Then Krishna says, Ahostvam Rishaye Sarve. It's not my opinion. All the rishis are saying this. Rishaya Sarve. Sarve means all. To name a few, Devashir, Narada, Narad Muni, Tatha Ashito. Ashita is a sage, Devala is a sage, and Vyasa. Vyasa is Ved Vyas. Swayam Chaiva Bravishime. They are, they, and now you yourself are telling me. So Arjuna is trying to authenticate his position that it's not me telling. See, it's very interesting. Vyasadev wrote many scriptures. He wrote Durga Puran, Garuda Puran, uh, Vishnu Puran. He wrote all the Puran, but he did not call Bhagavatam as Krishna Puran. He called it Bhagavat Puran. Means this is a quote about Bhagwan. But for everybody else, he is giving a name. This is Garuda Puran and this Puran and that Puran, Brahma Puran and other, and he is saying this is Bhagavad Puran about Bhagwan. And in every verse that Vyasadeva is the one who wrote all the scriptures. Any scriptures we know, all the spiritual knowledge, the source is Vyasadeva. And Vyasadeva himself in Bhagavad Gita does not say Krishna Uvacha. Vyasadeva says Bhagavan Uvacha, means authenticating that if he say Krishna, then people may mean Krishna to be as another personality. But he is not calling Krishna as Krishna. He is calling this is Bhagavan. ये भगवान बोल रहे हैं. This is Bhagwan speaking, and everybody else he takes their name. But when it comes to Krishna, he says this is Bhagwan speaking. So the Vyasa himself, through his Vedic literature, um, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva says, Ishvara Parama Krishna. There are many Ishvaras. Ishwar means controllers, who controls. One of the name, there are many controllers. Indra also control, Brahma also control, Indra has control over rain. Vayu has control over wind. Agni Dev has control over fire. So they're all also Ishvara. So there are so many Ishwar. But Ishwar Parama Krishna, the Parama Ishwar among all the Ishwar is Krishna. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. There are many causes for everything. There is a cause for everything, but the cause of all causes, Sarva Karana Karanam, is Ishvara Parama Krishna. So Arjuna is telling, actually, I have heard it. I have heard it from Vyasadev told me, who is the greatest sage. Vyasadev was living at that time of Krishna. Vyasadev worshipped Krishna. Vyasadev told me, Devala told me, Narada told me, Asita told me, and Rishaya Sarve, everybody told me that you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I am not sentimental by calling you Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Mama, Shashvatam, Ajo, Nitya. I am not sentimental by calling you. It's authenticated. It's authenticated by everybody, and on the top of that, you are telling. Nowhere in any scripture anybody called himself as God. But here Krishna is telling, it's me, Arjuna. I am the cause of all causes. Everything material, spiritual, everything emanates from me. And that's why this chapter is called Vibhuti, opulence of Krishna. But Krishna does not speak about himself to an envious person. So he says, Arjuna, because you're not envious of me, I am telling you truth about myself. Don't think I am one of the member of this Mahabharat war, a driver, a chariot driver, which I am. I love my devotees and I'm doing all this, but understand who I am. This is who I am. And this is overwhelming response of Arjuna. All the great sages such as Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa confirm this truth about you, and now you yourself are declaring it to me. So Srila Prabhupada said something beautiful. I will play only first 2-3 minutes.
So if you are theologians, then you must know what is God and abide by God. What do you think, Doctor? What do you think, Miss Prabhu?
Yes, well, I think you're quite right. I think that it is certainly in our day and age, many of us don't really know God.
Then he's not theologist.
We,
He tears up.
we know about Him, but we do not know God. I would agree.
That is tears up. Tears up is the thinking there is something. But with that superior, they're searching. The same thing. And a boy knows I have a father. But who is my father? That you have to ask him. Alone he cannot understand. So our proposition, you do not know God. And where is God? What is that? You do not know. If I present here is God, then why not church? What is God? We are present in God. Here is God. And big Acharya would have accepted. Ramanujarya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, Lord Chaitanya, and our disciple successor, my Guru Maharaj. and I am preaching in this God. I am not presenting a God whimsically. I am presenting a God who is recognized. So why don't you accept?
Okay, we'll go forward. It's a long video. I cut it short, but the idea, I mean, we cannot imagine how difficult it is to speak about Krishna and present Krishna to those who don't have faith in Bhagavad Gita, who don't have faith in Vedas, don't have faith in scriptures. They have their own, they have their own ways of understanding. They are professors of religion, and to present them about Krishna, I mean, for a person from India, they already accept Krishna as God. It's all about the relationship of Krishna with other personalities. It's just about that. But for them, these names doesn't exist. Whether it is Krishna, Brahma, Shiva, none of these name even they have heard. This is like 1970s, and to them Prabhupada is presenting, here is God, and we are not presenting your God whimsically. I'm not telling. So Arjuna, in the same way, he is accepting Krishna as God, and he is telling this is not whimsical. Whether it is Vyasa, Devala, Narada, Asita, and all the sages and everybody have accepted. So I'm just repeating. So here, and Krishna himself said, and Arjuna said, you yourself, Swayam Tvam, you yourself are telling to me, and I accept it. I have heard it from many others. O Krishna, continuing Arjuna's response after hearing Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, O Krishna, and now you will see when Arjuna saw the universal form of Krishna, Arjuna was completely overtaken. There is nothing more to say, nothing more to be heard, nothing more to say. After universal form, Arjuna said, I surrender. Kind of that kind of feeling. Please forgive me. I didn't know who you are. So this is the response. So Prabhupada says if somebody is saying himself, there are many people in India, they say we are God. So Prabhupada says if somebody tells you you are God, then you tell them, can you show universal form? Just like Arjuna saw, can you lift a Govardhan hill? Can you perform these pastimes? If you can do, we'll accept it. We'll accept you and we will worship you if you can show universal form. So Arjuna's response, oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me. Neither the demigods nor the demons, O Lord, can understand your personality. Um, Nobody can understand your personality other than until you remove their ignorance from their heart. Until Krishna helps us, we cannot understand. Those doubts will be there. But if you want to come out of those doubts, then two things we have to do. We have to perform devotional service and we have to hear about Krishna. We are already doing hearing about Krishna. Another thing you do is you perform devotional service at home, chanting Krishna's name. Mahaprabhu said, now I remember when I told about Lord Chaitanya, I forgot the thread. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked, what is devotional service? And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. These are called Nav Lakshana of Bhakti. Nine ways to render devotional service. Start with hearing about Krishna, Shravanam, Kirtanam, chanting Krishna's name, Smaranam, remembering Vishnu, Vishnu Smaranam, Pad Sevanam, serving the lotus feet, Pad Sevanam, Archanam, doing Arati, offering lamp, flower, food. This is all Archanam. Vandanam, offering prayers. My Lord, please help me. Please protect me from material energy. Please attract me towards yourself. Um, Please save me from my own anarthas. Please help me make progress. This is all part of Vandanam. Vandanam, Dasyam. My Lord, I am your servant. Sakhyam, treating Lord as a friend, and Atmanivedanam, surrendering oneself completely onto Krishna. We all are performing one or the other devotional service by default if we have taken birth in India. Many of the people from India they do arati. Archanam is there. Vandanam, offering prayers is there. It's all the devotional service we do on a regular basis. Pad Sevanam is serving the lotus feet. Serving lotus feet means following his instructions. That is serving the lotus feet. Like following Bhagavad Gita. That is serving lotus feet. So somewhere or other, if we are following dharma, if we are not cheating, if we are not if we are being moral to a little bit of extent, we are doing padasevana because we are following the instructions of the Lord as mentioned in scriptures. So Krishna, even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says people who have taken birth in India are this much closer to God consciousness. Very, very close. Why? Because they are born in that culture. It's all based on karma. Because Prabhupada says every Indian is Krishna conscious. Some accept, some don't accept. And Prabhupada says if you scratch little surface of their heart, which is covered by little bit misconception because of material attachment, their real devotion will come out. By default, Indians have devotion in their heart. Even those who call themselves atheist, in their heart, they bow down to the Lord. They may have some confusion because they have not read scriptures, or some confusion may remain, but still they are all devotees by default. um, okay, so oh Krishna, I totally accept as truth all that you have told me, and others cannot understand your personality unless you yourself reveal to them. Now Arjuna is requesting something from from Krishna. Arjuna says, please tell me in detail of your divine opulences by which you pervade all these words. This question is answered in the rest of the chapter. Tell me about your opulences, where this chapter got the name Vibhuti Yoga, the opulence of the Supreme. O Krishna, Arjuna request continues, O Krishna, O Supreme Mystic, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? In what various forms are you to be remembered, O Supreme Personality of Godhead? Now, Arjuna is asking Krishna, how shall I constantly think of you? And how shall I know you? Um, um, Prabhupada says in the purport, a mother does not need training to think of her child. In fact, the mother is always thinking of her child. Even while the mother is cooking, where is my son or my daughter? Where is my child? If the child is small, if the child is dependent on mother, while cooking, while cleaning, while sleeping, the mother is always conscious of the child. Is the child safe? Is the child within reach? So no, mother does not need a training how to remember the child because there is a loving relationship. Likewise, Prabhupada says, quoting Brahma Samhita, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena, Shanta Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti, Tam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam, Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena. So, when the eyes are anointed with love of God, love for Krishna, then one does not need to make any effort to remember Krishna. When you love somebody, you will by default remember them. Just like when in a fresh relationship, especially loving relationship between a boy and a girl, when they start developing some attraction for each other, especially before marriage or college days, something like that, when they start developing some attachment to each other, the boy is always thinking about the girl. He may be studying in the college, he may be preparing for exams, he's constantly thinking, is she calling me? Does her is any message comes, is it her text? Any email he keeps checking, is she emailing me? He's always constantly thinking about her some way or the other. Everything reminds him of her, and likewise for a girl. So because there is some kind of attachment, the boy does not need to make any effort to remember the girl, and likewise the girl does not need to make any effort. There is a spontaneous attraction between a boy and a girl. Rupa Goswami prays, my lord, when will I develop such kind of attraction for you? This is called spontaneous attraction. Now path of devotion has two two steps. First step is called um, practice, devotional service in practice, and second step is called devotional service in attachment. The goal is devotional service and attachment. Means we have developed loving relationship with Krishna. But as of now, we have no love for Krishna. We have no loving relationship with Krishna. Krishna is still a theoretical, philosophical figure for us, a person for whom we have awe and respect, for whom we have some feeling that he probably is God, but we are still more concerned about um, I am becoming more happier through him, so I should accept him. And still, we are concerned about our being happy in this material world, and Krishna remains a distant figure, and that's what increase our some kind of attraction towards him. But the spontaneous attraction for Krishna is not there. That is difficult actually. So in the beginning, we accept the path of regulated devotion, or devotion in practice. In practice means we may not have any taste. We may not like to do, just like we don't like to do many things in this world. We may not like to go to office. We may not like to cook on certain days. We may not like to bathe even or brush. We may not like to do many activities, but nonetheless we do them. We may not like to take care of many responsibilities that are on our head because we are not interested, but we do it anyhow. So likewise, there is devotion in practice, where we hear, we chant as a matter of um, it's the right thing to do. It's scriptural based. So this devotion in practice is like we fix a number of rounds every day, we chant. Someday we feel very good about it, someday we don't feel good about it, but we keep patience and then we continue doing it because it's the right thing to do. And then that devotional practice purifies our heart, and to the extent our heart becomes purified, our attraction for Krishna will increase. Attraction for Krishna does not come about by physical association. Krishna tells the gopis during Rasa Panchadhyay, he tells the gopis, Srimad Bhagavatam, attraction for me does not come about by my physical presence, but attraction for me comes about by hearing about me, by chanting my names, by glorifying me through devotional service. So um, um, when one has developed that attraction in spontaneous attachment, that attraction, that person does not need to think of how to remember Krishna, because he cannot forget Krishna for a moment. And there is a particular instance where um, Krishna stayed in Vrindavan for 11 years. Krishna took birth in Mathura, and then Krishna was transferred to Vrindavan. He stayed in Vrindavan for 11 years, and then all the Gopas and gopis were very attracted. Gopi and Gopa. Gopa means cowherd boys who take care of cows, males who take care of cows, and Gopi means females who take care of cows. So they are called cowherd boys and cowherd girls. Because of Krishna's beauty, everybody was attracted to Krishna, and after 11 years, Krishna left Vrindavan and Krishna went to Mathura. And because of the loving attachment of the Gopas and Gopis that they have for Krishna, um, they were constantly thinking of Krishna. Then um, Krishna sent Uddhav with a letter. Uddhav from Mathura. Uddhav was a cousin of Krishna. So Krishna, understanding that Gopas and Gopis are feeling separation from me, he sent a letter to Uddhav through Uddhav, and he sent Uddhav to Vrindavan. And Uddhav presented to the Gopis um, a letter where Krishna says, more than physical presence, um, um, your love will increase for me if you always think about me. Krishna sent this message to gopis, and gopis didn't like it at all. And Gopi said, what are you talking, Uddhav? We cannot stop thinking about Krishna. So this is what happens when we have a loving relationship. We cannot stop thinking about Krishna. But Arjun is asking here for a common man. How can a common man who does not have that attachment, that love for you as of yet, how can he remember you? How can he think of you? O Janardana, Again, please describe in detail the mystic power of your opulences. I am never satisfied in hearing about you. The more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. This is another sign of an advanced devotee. He never he is never tired of hearing about Krishna. He hears about Krishna. He hears about Krishna. He feels attraction for Krishna, and he wants to hear more about Krishna, and he wants to hear more about Krishna. So Arjuna is telling, I am never satiated in hearing about you. For the more I hear, the more I want to taste the nectar of your words. So please tell me something more about yourself. In essence, so far, Arjuna glorifies Krishna. You are the Supreme Lord. Not only I, Asita, Devala, Narada, Vyasa, everybody has accepted it. Now, please show me your opulences. Please tell me more about yourself. Please tell me how I can think of you. I am never tired of hearing about you. The more I hear about you, the more I want to hear more about you. Now, Krishna's response, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, yes, I will tell you of my splendorous manifestation, but only of those which are prominent, O Arjuna, for my opulence is limitless. So, Krishna said, I have unlimited opulences, Vibhuti, but I will tell you only those which are prominent. I am the super soul, O Arjuna. So, today's discussion is little more reading today. I am the super solo Arjuna, seated in the heart of all living entities. I am the beginning, I am the middle, I am the end of all beings. So here Krishna starts explaining his opulence. First opulence he says is, although I am standing in front of you, I am sitting in the heart of all living entities. I am the super soul. I am the beginning, middle, and the end of all beings. Of Adityas, I am Vishnu. Actually, Adityas, there are 11 Adityas. The supreme Aditya is Vishnu. Of Aditya, I am Vishnu. Of lights, I am the radiant sun. Of Maruts, I am Marichi. And among the stars, I am moon. So, like this, there are many verses that speaks about the opulence of Krishna. Now when Krishna says of Marut I am Marichi, of star I am moon, it's not that moon is Krishna. Moon is moon, but when Krishna says of stars I am moon, means the opulence, the service that moon is able to render, it's possible because of my presence in the heart uh, of uh, of the moon god, and because of my empowering him, he is able to do so. Of the lights, I am the radiant sun. um, because of me, the sun is able to do what it can do. The opulence of the sun comes from me. So what Krishna says, Krishna, now the implied meaning is everything that we see in this world, every quality, every ability, everything is coming from me. Anybody is able to do, I am the source of that. But now, what all can I speak about myself? So Krishna takes a group, and he says the best person in the group, that opulence is coming from me. In other words, everything else that remains in between is there because of my empowerment. So of Adityas I am Vishnu, of light I am radiant sun, of Marut I am Marichi. Um, there are many sources of light. In fact, all sources of light originates originally from sun. All sources, moonlight, starlight, the sun is the basis of all sources of light. Of Maruts I am Marichi. There are 49 Maruts. 49 Maruts are demigods under the care of Indra. Among them, the the topmost personality among Maruts is Marichi. So among Maruts, I am Marichi. There are many stars, but the most valuable star is the moon. Moon is also considered as one of the star, as per Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. If you see, there are many stars. What is the use of such stars? Sometimes they are visible, sometimes they are not visible. We don't care about it. But when moon is not there, then we care about it, because moon has lot of significance. We'll see significance of moon in the 15th chapter. So among all the stars, I am moon. Then Krishna says, of the Vedas, I am Sam Veda. There are four Vedas: Sam, Athar, Yajur, Rig. Among them, Sam Vedas contains lot of essence. So among Vedas, I am Sam. Of demigods, I am Indra. There are 33 million devatas. Among them, Indra is the king of demigods. So among demigods, I am Indra. Of the senses, I am mind. There are six senses. In eyes, nose, tongue, ears, and the sense of touch. And the sixth is the mind. The source, the most powerful among the six senses is the mind. So of the senses, I am mind. And in living being, I am the living force. The soul comes from Krishna, and the presence of soul in the heart is felt through consciousness. That is also coming from Krishna. Anything great, anything great, not that only Sam Ved is Krishna. Sam Ved is Krishna means, um, here in reference to Sam Ved, the Vedas are breathing of the Lord. They all emanated from the Lord, all the Vedas. Actually, it is described Brahma Samhita from the flute of Krishna. All the Gayatri herself, Mother Gayatri, we chant Gayatri mantra. So the personality Gayatri emanated from the flute of Krishna, and through that same flute, through the medium of Gayatri, the goddess of knowledge, all the Vedas came into existence. But the essence is Samved. So the everything, the source of everything and all the opulence, the source is Krishna. That's why this chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga, how the opulence of everything is Krishna. But Krishna mentions only the highest category among the whole. Of the Rudras, I am Shiva. There are 11 Rudras. They are called Ekadashi Rudras. And there is a whole story in Bhagavatam about Rudras. The topmost Rudra is Shiva. So Krishna says, among Rudra, I am Shiva. Actually, in spiritual world, there is no difference between um, Shiva and Krishna, because Shiva expands from Krishna. So they are one and the same personality, but the Shiva whom we know in the material world, he is touched by mode of ignorance, and that's why he take the service of destruction. But the Shiva in spiritual world is called Sadashiva, and all the Rudras, Ekadashi Rudras, they are expansion from Sadashiv. Sadashiva is Vishnu Tattva, but all the Shiva, they are Shambhu Tattva. That's why two different tattvas. Sadashiv is never touched by any modes, he is transcendental, but Ekadashi Rudras, they are touched by Tamogun. So because he is not into Tamogun, but he has accepted as a service, the service of destruction. And destruction is an act of Tamogun, so he is the in charge of Tamogun. But Lord Shiva is the in charge, but he is not kind of in Tamogun. He is his original tattva Sadashiv is still Vishnu tattva. Of the Yakshas and Rakshasas, I am the Lord of Wealth, Kuvera. So Kuvera is the king of Yakshas. Kuvera is the one who handles the wealth in the heavenly planets. Kuvera. So among the Yakshas, I am Kuvera. Among Vasus, I am Agni. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, these are all Vasus. I mean their personality: Agni Dev, Vayu Dev, Varuna, Water Dev, like in charge of water, Varuna, Agni Dev. These are all Vasus. Among them, the topmost is Agni. And of mountains, I am Meru. Meru is, it's made of gold, solid gold, and it's not visible on Earth planet but exists in the universe. So there are many mountains. The opulence of all the whatever Vasus are able to do, Rudras are able to do, um, Yakshas are able to do. The opulence of everything that they're able to do is coming from me. Krishna says in uh, um, Krishna says in seventh chapter that whatever results the demigods can offer, it actually comes from me. All their power comes from me. So Vibhuti of Krishna is unlimited, but he is trying to give a hint to Arjuna. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. All the sages have so much potency, but whatever the sages are able to do, that potency also coming from me. I am the source behind which everything works. So of the great sages, I am Bhrigu. Of the vibration, I am transcendental Om. Oh, many people, they don't worship Krishna, they don't worship any other devata, but they chant Om. Even the yogis chant Om. And Krishna says, I am Om. There are many vibrations, but among all the vibration, the best vibration is Om. And there are many sacrifices. Among sacrifice, I am the chanting of the holy names, japa. Sometimes people ask, where does Krishna speak about chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra in Bhagavad Gita? This comes in 10th chapter. But then sometimes people say, but Krishna does not so keenly emphasize on chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Then why are you emphasizing so much when there is no such direct, strong emphasis on chanting? Now, Krishna does mention that there are many sacrifices. Krishna says, without sacrifice, you cannot live happily in this life and next life. Krishna says in 18th chapter, sacrifice, penance, and charity should not be given up. They purify even the great souls. So we must perform austerity, we must perform charity, and we must perform sacrifice. So the sacrifice for this age is Sankirtan Yagya, Japa. Now there are many sacrifices. Why Krishna? Now there are four kinds of sacrifices. The sacrifice we were discussing before, sacrifice can be um, 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 fire sacrifice, meditation, deity worship. These are all sacrifice. Sacrifice means voluntary inconvenience for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of God. Something that we are willing to do, we may like to do, we may not like to do, but sacrifice means I may or I may not, that doesn't matter, but I know it pleases Krishna. Let me take shelter of Krishna through the means of this sacrifice. Sacrifice is a means to reach to the Supreme Lord, to please the Supreme Lord. Krishna speaks more about sacrifice in the 17th chapter Bhagavad Gita. So there are many sacrifices, but the best sacrifice among all is japa. Now, for Kali Yuga, if you go to Bhagavatam, there is elaborate description. All the verses that I one of the previous discussion quoted on japa, they come from Bhagavatam, because Bhagavad Gita is not for Kali Yuga. This Bhagavad Gita is the same Gita. Krishna says, I spoke this Bhagavad Gita, I spoke this Bhagavad Gita to Sun God, which was millions of years ago. So, and Krishna says, um, every yoga I come, I speak Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is lost because Krishna says this knowledge is eternal. It was coming down from in the 4th chapter. He says this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, I initially spoke to Sun God, coming down through kings, and it appears to be lost. Then I again appear. When it appears to be lost, adharma increase and then again appear. So Bhagavad Gita is not meant for Kali Yuga. It is meant for Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. So Bhagavad Gita does not emphasize a particular a particular method of devotion. For that, we have to go to scriptures like Kali Santran Upanishad, which is meant for Kali Yuga. Shrimad Bhagavatam speaks about all yugas, and this verse of um, Satya Yoga meditation, Dwapar Yoga deity worship, Treta Yoga fire sacrifices, Kali Yoga Sankirtan. This also comes in Bhagavatam. But one thing which Bhagavad Gita glorifies at the end of every chapter is bhakti, devotional service. Throughout throughout Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter ends with that, 8th chapter ends with that, 9th chapter ends with that. We will see 10th chapter also, 11th, 12th. All the chapters Krishna brings up to the sum of rendering devotional service. And we saw the essence of Bhagavad Gita. Again, Krishna says, bhaja. Bhaja means render devotional service. Devotional service is further expanded in the 9 ways and the important ways and the ways meant for Kali Yuga. So anybody who goes through all the scriptures will have an understanding, and that's why we are bringing it right there in Bhagavad Gita itself, so that after many after long time of study of scriptures, one will come to the same conclusion. But then once the conclusion is there, once we know this is the essence, why not start it now? Why wait? And as we read scriptures, our conviction will naturally grow. So of sacrifices, I am the chanting of holy name japa, and of immovable things, I am Himalayans. Himalayans is the biggest immovable things. I am the all devouring death. Death is also death. The god of death is Yama, and that potency that Yama has also comes from me. So I am all devouring death. I am the generating principle of um, all that is yet to be. We all generate. We all have generating potency, but the generating principle, the source is Krishna. That is also coming from Krishna. Among women, I am fame, fortune, fine speech, memory, intelligence, steadfastness, patience. Prabhupada says these are feminine qualities. Patience, you will see more in feminine nature. Steadfastness, memory, fine speech, fortune, intelligence, fame, you will see that in them. So these are feminine qualities, and Krishna says the source of all those qualities also me. Everything eventually is coming from me. And here Krishna says, now these are total um, um, like I'm going to read from the beginning. Of the demigods I am Indra, of Adityas I am Vishnu, of Maruts Marichi, among Rudra Shiva, among Yakshas Kuvera, among Vasus I am Agni, among generals there are many generals. The general of demigod and demons, they always fight among each other. So the demigod army has a leader. He's like the general of demigod army. He's Kartikeya, the son of Shiva and Parvati. Then Gandharvas are the singer, the musicians in heavenly planets. Among them, the best singer is Chitraratha, the best singer. So among Gandharvas, I am that. Creators, there are many creators. We all are creator in some small. We can create a building, we can create few things, but Brahma created uh, the planets, and Brahma created the whole within the universe. Universes were created by Vishnu through his pores, but within the population and the minute creation, within that was Brahma. So among creator within this universe, the topmost is Brahma. So among creator, I am Brahma. Among Daitya demons, I am devoted Prahlad. So demons, there are many demons. Prahlad Maharaj was born in a demoniac family, but he is the best of all the devotees. So among Daitya demons, I am Prahlad. Among dispensers of law, I am the Lord of Death, Yama. There may be there we may cheat the laws in this material world. We may bribe the cops, we may go to a judge, and we may hire a lawyer who can lie on our behalf, convince us, and free us for a wrong thing. But we cannot be saved from the hands of Yama. And when person die, he goes to Yamaraj, and whatever wrong and right he has done, he has to pay for it, whatever he has done. So one can cheat the laws. So there are laws in this material world made by government. One can escape them, but one cannot escape the law of Yama. So among the dispensers of law, I am Yama. Among departed ancestors, I am Aryama. So there is a place called Pitralok, where all the ancestors go, where anybody who dies, they go to Pitralok. Pitralok is like a waiting area before they go in front of Yamaraj for the final judgment of the next destination. There is a waiting period, and they wait in a planet called Pitralok. It's one of the lower planetary system, Pitralok. In Pitralok, the leader is Aryama. So among the departed ancestors, I am Aryama. Among the cause of procreation, I am Kandarpa, the god of love, or Cupid. Cupid. That's also me. Of the sages, I am Vyasa. There are many sages, but Vyasadeva is the one who gives light to everyone. Among sages, I am Vyasa. Among great sages, I am Bhrigu. Bhrigu Muni is one of the son of Vyasa, the best among all the sages. Sages among demigods, I am Narad Muni. Narad Muni is also a demigod, but he is the best among sage. So Narad Muni was actually the spiritual master of Vyasadeva. He told Vyasadeva about scriptures. But Narad Muni is son of Brahma. So Narad Muni is also a demigod. At the same time, he says, so sages among demigods, I am Narad Muni. Among priests, I am Brihaspati. Brihaspati is the priest of demigods. Indra and everybody, their priest is Brihaspati. Among perfected beings, I am sage Kapila. Kapila is actually a Vishnu avatar, incarnation of Vishnu. Among great thinkers, I am Shukracharya. Shukracharya is one of the great thinkers. He is the priest of demons. The priest of demigods is Brihaspati. Among Pandavas, I am Dhananjay. Among men, I am monarch, king, the best among men. Among descendants of Vrishni, I am Vasudev. Among horses, I am Uchishrava. Uchishrava was one of the horse created in Samundan Manthan pastime, the churning of milk ocean. And no time to discuss that pastime today, but sometime in future. Among elephants, I am Airavata. Airavata was an elephant produced from churning of milk ocean. And Indra took the Airavata and made his career. So among elephants, I am Airavata. Among cows, I am Surabhi, the best of the cows. Among serpents, I am Vasuki. There are many serpents, but there is a planet called Nagalok within this universe. And the king of the planet is Vasuki. And it was this snake Vasuki that was used as a rope for the churning of milk ocean. Demigods on one side, demons on one side, and they were churning Mount Mandara as a churning rod, and they were churning the milk ocean to produce nectar. And whoever will drink nectar um, will become like infinitely long life in a way, and no disease. Um, so among serpents, I am Vasuki. Among many hooded Nagas, I am Ananta. There are many Nagas, and Ananta is actually Balaram, the expansion of Krishna, who holds universe on his head. He is the best among all the Nagas. So there is a difference between Nagas and snakes. Many hooded Nagas. Vasuki still has one head, but many hooded Nagas. I am Ananta. He has thousands of heads. On each head, one universe is there. Among aquatics, I am demigod Varuna because he is the in charge of aquatics. Among fishes, I am shark. Among beasts, lion. Among birds, I am Garuda. Garuda is a carrier of Vishnu. He is a big eagle. Big eagle. How big eagle? I mean, he can take the whole earth on his head. That big eagle. He is a big eagle. Among subduers, I am time. Time is the biggest subduer. Time destroys everything. Today we are in good health, everything is nice, but after 100 years, none of us in this call will be in this body. If you are serious, you will go back to Godhead. Otherwise, you will continue devotional service in another life. But rest assured, because you are already performing some sort of devotional service, at least hearing Bhagavad Gita, your advancement is guaranteed. Guaranteed. You have already begun your devotional service. But time destroys everything. Time is the biggest destroyer. Among wielder of weapon, I am Rama. There is nobody like Rama in the art of weapon. Among cheats, I am gambling. Among the means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment. Among weapons, thunderbolt, I am the all devouring death. Among wise, I am wisdom. Among secret things, I am silence. Among those who seek victory, I am morality, because always morality wins. Pandavas on the side of morality, they won. Among splendids, I am splendor. Among women, I am these feminine qualities: patience, steadfastness, intelligence, memory, fine speech, fortune, and fame. I am adventure, I am victory, I am the strength of the strong. So many people are trying to do a lot of bodybuilding and they want to become very strong. So many people do so much tapasya to gain strength. Krishna says, I am the strength of the strong. Among lights, I am sun. Among stars, I am moon. Among mountain, I am Meru. Among immovables, I am Himalayas. Among water bodies, I am ocean. Among trees, I am banyan tree. Among purifiers, I am wind. Wind purifies. Even if you keep stool in the wind, within few hours, there will be no smell in the stool. If there is urine, it will just go away. It will just turn like water. So wind purifies. If your hand is very dirty, if you're driving, you keep the hand outside, and you will see no uchishta, no remnants will remain. I mean, particles may be there, but those impurities will go away. So wind is the best purifier. So among purifiers, I am wind. Among flowing rivers, I am Ganges. Among creation, I am beginning, middle, and end. As Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, he creates, maintains, and destroys. As among creation, among months, I am Margashish, November, December, because that's when crops come, something like that. Among seasons, I am flower bearing. Spring season is the best compared to summer, winter. Spring season is the best. I am inexhaustible time. No moving, no beings moving or non moving can exist without me. um, Everything that is existing is because of Krishna. I mean, the soul belongs to Krishna, the qualities belongs to Krishna that we may develop, whatever intelligence, strength, anything we have, that is Krishna's opulence. So no moving or non-moving beings can exist without me. Non-moving beings are like plants, and moving beings are, whether it is animals or aquatics or birds or humans, they are all moving beings. I am the super soul in all living entities' heart. I am the living force. Among senses, I am mind. I am beginning, middle, and end of all beings. Beginning is procreation, and Krishna says, I am Kandarpa. Middle, maintenance is Krishna, and end, death, Yama. I am devouring death. I am Yama. I am the law. Everything from beginning, middle to end, everything is under Krishna's control. I am the generating seed of all existence. All the universes emanate from Krishna. I am the generating principle. Everything that anybody can generate anything, the generating principle, the thing that someone can generate, that principle is also originating from Krishna. Among poetry, I am the Gayatri Mantra. Among letters, I am A. Among compound words, I am dual compound. Among science, I am spiritual science. Many times people speak about science, but the highest science is the spiritual science. Anybody can learn metallurgy, can learn medical science by knowing which medicine for what, which medicine for what symptoms, what disease, and one can understand and know the procedure and can follow. But the deepest science is the spiritual science. um, Among logicians, I am conclusive truth. That's the goal of logicians, to come to the truth. Among hymns in Samveda, I am Brihat Sam. Among vibrations, I am transcendental Om. Among sacrifices, I am chanting of holy names. Among Vedas, I am Samved. Um, um, 12, 13, maybe 3 4 more minutes, so we have come to the end of this chapter. Furthermore, O Arjuna, I am the generating seed of all existence. We discussed this. There is no being, moving or non-moving, that can exist without me. O mighty conqueror of enemies, there is no end to my divine manifestation. After speaking, this is that's why this chapter is called Vibhuti Yoga, opulence of Krishna. Krishna spoke, I am this, everything possible, animals, nature, science, letters, poetry, everything Krishna covered. And then Krishna says, this is there is no end, there is no end to my divine manifestation. What I have spoken to you is a mere indication of my infinite opulences. And it is here where in the 11th chapter, where Arjuna says, you have spoken everything, everything is covered within you, you are the source of everything, there is nothing I can think of beyond what you have described. But how can a common man understand? Can you show me how all these opulence are within you? And then Arjuna saw all these opulences within universal form of Krishna. And that is our next chapter. Know that all beautiful, there are so many beautiful things in this world, but but the source of all those beautiful things is coming from original beauty, which is Krishna. There are so many glorious things, mighty creations. All beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. Everything that exists, we may be attracted to beauty, we may be attracted to opulence, we may be attracted to someone's fame, we may be attracted to someone's strength, we may be attracted to someone's opulences, whatever we are attracted to, all these potencies somebody has is actually coming from Krishna. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support this entire universe. With a small fragment, this entire universe I can pervade. So everything is within me. Um, and how much can I describe? And what is the use of describing so much? But this is just a hint of my opulence. Okay, that's the end of the chapter. Krishna outlines 82 of his opulences. Krishna is explaining groups, and he is the most prominent essence of these groups. Krishna is not physically these things, he is the source of all these opulences. Such opulence only hint at his glory. This is only a hint of Krishna. Okay. So as I said, today's topic is not very philosophical, but lot of reading. Uh, Anyone has any questions?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Soumya Mataji.
Uh, Krishna was born in Madura and then he moved to Vrindavan. He stayed there for 11 years and then he moved to Madurai, right? So
Yes.
why he didn't come back to Vrindavan again? And they all met in Kurukshetra, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So why he didn't go back to Vrindavan? Is
at
that
least once. Yes.
no? There are many reasons. You are asking a very very esoteric and deep question. There are many reasons. Uh, I will share one reason. Actually,
Yeah.
the residents of Vrindavan have very deep affection for Krishna. It was extremely hard for Krishna to go with Uddhav, and it was heartbreaking for all the Vrajvasis to see the separation of Krishna going to Mathura. And there is, in fact, a story where one of the friend of Krishna, he said, Krishna, till you return, Sri Dama, he said, Krishna, till you return, I will not eat or sleep. I will stay here. I'll wait for you. Krishna says, please don't do that. And he said, no, I'll wait for you. Krishna said, I will return very soon, maybe in a day or two, but I shall return. And he just kept on waiting. But naturally, spiritual body, so he could maintain himself. So when Krishna left Vrindavan, when he went to Mathura, there are many reasons. One fear that Krishna has, Krishna heart was longing to go to Vrindavan, and um, he had fear, if I go to Vrindavan, I will not be able to leave back again. Another thing that happened is Krishna killed after 2 days after leaving Mathura. The 2 days from then, Krishna killed Kamsa, and Kamsa had huge tie up with Jarasandha and many other enemies. And all the residents of Mathura, they told Krishna that since there is no king now, um, um, everybody knowing now Kamsa was married to the two daughters of Jarasandha, and Jarasandha was another very powerful man. In fact, Krishna fought with him 17 times. These are all
Yes.
esoteric pastimes of Krishna. And everybody knew that because Krishna has killed Kamsa and Jarasandha daughters were widowed, so definitely Jarasandha will come and attack Mathura. And if Krishna is not there, and many other demoniac persons would come and attack Mathura, and everybody asks Krishna, if you are not there here, if you leave even for a day, this is external reason, even for a day, then we don't know what will happen to Mathura. Another reason was Vasudeva and Devaki, they were, I mean, they gave birth in a way. Birth of Krishna is a esoteric pastime sometime in future, but they had a role. And Vasudeva and Devaki, they didn't want Krishna to leave because they had fear, if Krishna goes to Vrindavan, he will not return again. And they are
Okay.
longing for Krishna's association. But Krishna has such intense longing to go to Vrindavan, so he sent Uddhav with so many letters for all his devotees. And Uddhav stayed in Vrindavan for 10 months. Every day, Krishna would go up the roof and search, is Uddhav coming back, is Uddhav coming back? And he would and why he was doing that, because Krishna has such a loving relationship with Vrajvasis that is not there in Mathura or anywhere else like Vrindavan. And Krishna was just waiting, and when Uddhav came, Krishna ran to Uddhav, and day and night Krishna would hear about how is Mother Yashoda, how is Nanda Baba, how is Sri Dama and Subal, and how are everybody else, what they think about me, what did you tell them, what they told you about. And that shows Krishna's loving affection for Vrindavan. Another thing, I mean, this is deep esoteric subject matter. Another very deep subject matter is Krishna never left Vrindavan. Actually, Krishna is a very complicated tattva, but there is it is the Narayan part of Krishna who left Vrindavan, because Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, and Krishna entered into the heart of his devotees. And although those devotees, they were externally feeling intense separation from Krishna, internally they would still play with Krishna, they would have all loving exchanges with Krishna, and they would think it is only a dream that we are doing this. But actually it was Krishna enter the heart of his devotees. So this Krishna subject matter, sometime Krishna willing, we may take up this service of understanding Krishna tattva more. But this is something I can say. Is that all right, Soumya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Soumya Mataji. All right. Anyone else has any question? We are out of time also. Okay. So we will end here. Uh, thank you very much. वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। थैंक यू। धन्यवाद। हरे कृष्ण।